Like, outside of the obvious, and I think there's a big picture reaction to Derek Stingley being hurt, but there's also like a small picture reaction. And this might put some perspective on where we think Derek Stingley is. I think he's a good corner. I think he does a really good job. I think he's finally in the right system, and unfortunately, we've only seen him for 2 games in that system. So far, so good, but we don't really know much about Derek Stingley. When I heard Laramie Tunsil was out, I said OF.
Yeah.
When I heard that Jimmy Ward was out a couple of weeks ago, I said OS. Said the S word.
OF and OS.
I said the F word when Tunsil got hurt. I said the S word when Jimmy Ward got hurt. When I found out that Jalen Petrie was going to be out,
OD?
I said damn.
Because there are different levels of frustration.
I said damn.
Yeah.
But then when Derek Stingley got hurt in the short term, I said all shucks. I don't know what to make of that, but I worked my way down the line.
Shucks.
All shucks. Darn.
Well, darn.
Oh, well, here comes Shaq Griffin.
Yeah, darn.
Like, are you to the point now where you feel like when Laramie Tunsil's out, you feel like you're missing one of the best left tackles in the league? When Jimmy Ward's out, it's a fringe top 100 player. Jalen Petrie's one of your leaders. What is Derek Stingley right now? If we were just assessing this, like if I asked you to power rank the players that you could least afford to lose for one game
Outside of quarterback.
for one game, well, you can put CJ at the top.
All right, he's at the top.
If you want. You can put CJ at the
he's
top.
at the
You can
top.
do whatever you want.
Yeah.
How long does it take for you to mention Derek Stingley?
Whew. I'm not even going to do that exercise because I know where you're going with that. Is like how important really, how much have we really seen from him? And I think that's part of the problem. You know, we don't know if he's good yet. You said, oh, shucks. I mean, I'm not going to blame you because he missed so much time last year. We know how awesome he was at LSU, but he missed a lot of time at the end of his career there. He comes in, and I saw some stats. I know you probably saw these too. From
Targets, all that crap.
Yeah, number of targets, number of catches, all that. That's hard to really say that, oh, he must be a shutdown corner because he only had, I think it was like 4 targets or, or whatever it was, and 1 cat. It's kind of early to know if that
I think he's a good player.
If that means anything other than he's good.
I think he's a good player. I don't think he's a bad player. I think he's in the right system, all that. I just don't I don't know what Derek Stingley is at this moment. I have no idea.
No.
I mean, and you also fall down. I mean, how much are they going to target you? I mean, you fall down 14-0. You're down 3 scores. Like if we're going by targets, it's not
it's not like Revis Island.
Yeah,
I mean, where they don't even look over there.
I mean, in some instances you hear stats and you go off the stats, but I mean, we watch every snap of this play. You're a hardo who watches the game 5 times.
Once, and I didn't even do it this week.
But
little confession.
I didn't watch the game and be like, oh, they're on Stingley Island right now.
Yeah, no.
So I don't know. I mean, it sucks. I mean, you want him to be good. Like if you told me that this guy could reach his ultimate upside, and I had to power rank that, Derek Stingley would be high up on the list. But like as far as going into Sunday against Jacksonville and not,
that's a big miss.
Not having a chance.
him. Yeah, no.
Can you say unequivocally that you can 100%, you would bet your life that in the short term, Derek Stingley's better than Steven Nelson? Could you say that right now without?
No.
I don't even know that they're missing their best corner.
Yeah.
I mean, for the last year.
Look at what Steven Nelson did in the preseason.
Well, look at what Steven Nelson did against Baltimore. He had the interception.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't even, as much as this stinks and as much as injuries kind of pile up and all that, I don't even know that the Texans are going to be without their best corner. And that kind of adds to the discussion that is expanded from this.
All points back to how this started.
With Nick Caserio. And that's kind of the point that I'm making right now. Because I think we're so used to leaning on the expect the worst with the Texans. And this is a lot of injuries. But it almost feels like we came into this season saying, we want to see what Derek Stingley is. Can Derek Stingley have a great year with Sauce Gardner? Let's see what happens. And then all of a sudden when he gets hurt, there's a reaction as if you're losing Deion Sanders on Sunday, and I don't even know that he's better than Steven Nelson here, which says a lot all in itself.
No, I absolutely.
And I don't think anyone, even people carrying Stingley's water, and I like Derek Stingley, I don't think you can say unequivocally that he is right now better than Steven Nelson.
No, you can't. You can't. You can't. And it points back to that draft, and 2 first-round picks. That's what's really most bothersome. It's one thing like the 2021 draft, whatever, he made the most. There's 2 guys that have been cut off of that draft. They didn't even have a pick until the 3rd round.
Yeah.
So you total pass. 2 first-round picks, you cannot miss on both of them. And where we are right now, this could change and they could both be Pro Bowlers. But where we are right now is Nick Caserio missed on both of them. And there is no question of, well, did Caserio have the final say or was it D'Amico? No. 2022 was Nick Caserio. That was Nick Caserio's draft. And he missed, as of now, on both first-round picks. That's haunting. That's haunting.
Does the known risk, does that increase or decrease the frustration with Nick Caserio? Like, in other words, let's say that I go up to our boss, Parker, and I say, hey, I know this person who's a really good producer, and I think they would be a very good asset to our team. Now, before you do the background check, though, I want you to know he's a crackhead and he used to steal stuff. But he doesn't do that anymore. He's not a crackhead. He doesn't steal stuff. He's a really good worker. There's a lot of potential here, so everything's going to be fine. If 2 weeks later we come back and all our computers are gone, then does that make it better or worse? Because I knew he was a crackhead. Like, you knew Derek Stingley. You knew the problems. Yeah. So if you're willing to take that risk and then it backfires, then does that make it worse?
It does make it worse. And it goes back to what I'm saying, the fact that they were a first-round pick. You have so many checks and balances for draft picks. And when you have 2 first-round picks, you just pour through the information. You do the interviews. You go back and talk to high school people in some cases. And you cannot have a box that's not checked when you have a top 3 pick, much less a first-round pick. You cannot miss on that. Why did they do that this year? There were all the boxes were checked on Will Anderson. All the boxes were checked on C.J. Stroud. Now, are they going to be superstars? Who knows? But you know that there were no questions about it, and everything that we know so far is that there aren't going to be any questions about either of those 2 guys. Derek Stingley, there was one giant question: injury prone. What's happened since that you drafted him? And then you miss again?
Here's the thing, though, and this is where this kind of goes back to my original statement. He's also got to be good, because that was why when Nick Caserio was going up there and he was talking about Kenyon Green and, Kenyon's hurt. Sometimes that's just the way of the game. He sucked last year. He was terrible. All right, he was not good.
No.
So I don't want to let injuries just be the only thing.
No.
It wasn't like Derek Stingley, let's put it this way. If Derek Stingley hadn't missed a game last year, and let's say he's on the field for the entire season, we would still be saying you took this guy over Sauce Gardner. So while injuries can be a thing, don't let them eliminate other stuff that should be things.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's not just, sometimes we simplify it as health. But when they were on the field, even if they'd been on the field the whole time, like if Kenyon Green had never gotten hurt, and if Derek Stingley had never gotten hurt, it's not like the questions would be gone and we would just be sitting here saying, well, they really made good picks there.
Well, more so Kenyon Green, I would think.
Yeah, more so Kenyon.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens with Sting. But
to this point, he hasn't really distinguished himself. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt because we all know how and it was an argument that we had: Stingley or Sauce. I fell on Sauce. I thought that was that was the way to go. But that's just one dude's opinion. But when you're doing the research and you're making this pick, I'll put it this way, and I said this earlier, and I think this is the most important thing of all. Nick Caserio needed these 2 guys to step up this year, and step up quickly. Not only have they not stepped up, they've gone the other way. So this is a bad week for Nick Caserio. This is a bad month for Nick Caserio because everything that needed to happen has gone the other way. Kenyon Green,
it's a bad week for the Texans.
Yeah, but I'm saying
it's not just Nick. It's a bad week for the Texans too.
It is. But you just pointed out. Maybe Steven Nelson's even better. and maybe you won't miss a lot if Shaq Griffin plays or whomever. But what I'm saying is, in terms of like the guy that said the clock is ticking, he needed to stop that clock, early in this season, in the preseason and early in this season. And not only did it not stop, it's accelerating.
It's going to be interesting to see how they approach this. DeMeco Ryan seems to like Graylin Arnold at the nickel spot. And the other thing is they decided on Shaq Griffin. Mm-hmm. I heard people talk about, Desmond King as a nickelback. I thought Desmond King, the value of Desmond King was on the outside and nickel if you needed him to go there, because he did a very good job filling in last year on the outside. You chose Shaq Griffin, and I tell you what, you talk about targets and all this type of stuff. It's one thing to say that against that Colts wide receiver core. You can get challenged this week.
Yeah.
You're either going to be matched up against Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, maybe a little bit of Ingram action. They kind of used him as a receiver. So there's going to be a definite test there. And Sauce Gardner not playing as well as he was last year, but let's not let that take away from the fact that, it's not even close who the better player has been so far this year.
No.
We got to be honest about that.